If you were a 90s kid, you would trade your whole lunchbox for a pack of Dunkaroos or a bottle of Surge. In the age of Nickelodeon slime and Saturday morning cartoon blitzes, snacks were not just food. They were power moves on the playground. Fueled by the biggest marketing budgets and a tidal wave of neon packaging, these 14 snacks became the taste of our childhood. And then, almost overnight, vanished from shelves. Some were banned, some reformulated, while others survived only as legends, whispered by people who miss bubblegum powder and pizza you built yourself. But what really fueled this snack craze? And would any of these treats survive today's health rules? Let us rewind to the wild world that gave birth to 14 snacks every 90s kid would do anything to taste again. Saturday mornings in the 1990s were a full-contact sport, but not because of cartoons alone. Every commercial break became a battleground for snack brands, each one louder and more colorful than the last. Neon mascots with wild hair and sunglasses promised that their cookies, candies, and chips would make you the envy of the playground. Jingles stuck in your head long after the cereal bowl was empty. According to a 1997 Nielsen study, kids could identify Tony the Tiger or the Kool-Aid Man faster than most U.S. presidents. Animated characters didn't just sell snacks, they became part of childhood itself. Snack companies poured millions into TV ad slots during Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network blocks, knowing that a single catchy slogan could send kids begging in grocery aisles by noon. Mascots like Chester Cheetah and the Trix Rabbit weren't just spokes animals. They were celebrities, inspiring lunchroom debates and after-school trades. The packaging was just as bold. Day-glow colors, splattered fonts, and wild shapes designed to jump off the shelf. Brands raced to outdo each other with new flavors, secret prizes, and mail-away offers. The real prize, though, was fame, instant, everywhere, and sticky as bubblegum. In this world, a snack wasn't just something you ate. It was a status symbol, a conversation starter, and sometimes the only thing standing between you and total cafeteria obscurity. If you thought the commercials were intense, just wait until you remember the snacks themselves. By the early 1990s, family life was changing almost as fast as the snack aisle. More parents worked outside the home than ever before, and after-school routines became a race against the clock. Convenience wasn't just a bonus, it was a survival tool. Lunchboxes filled up with single-serve packs, peel-top puddings, and anything that could be grabbed on the way out the door. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracked a steady rise in dual-income households throughout the decade, and food companies took note. Snacks got smaller, packaging got brighter, and the promise was always the same: open, eat, repeat. But even as the shelves exploded with new options, a few warning bells started to ring. The Nutrition Labeling and Education Act of 1990 forced every snack to display a standardized nutrition facts panel by 1994. Suddenly, parents could see just how much sugar, fat, and artificial color was packed inside those neon wrappers. Health advocates raised eyebrows at the ingredient lists, and the FDA issued public warnings about certain food dyes and additives. Environmental groups, too, began to question the mountains of single-use plastics piling up from squeeze bottles and mini trays. Snack makers responded with even flashier designs and wild mascots, hoping to keep the focus on fun instead of the fine print. But the push for convenience and the first hints of backlash set the stage for what came next. A wave of snacks that would be loved, debated, and sometimes banned, all before the decade was over. Cosmic brownies crashed into the snack scene with unapologetic sweetness. Little Debbie's dense, fudge-laden squares, topped with a scatter of rainbow candy chips, became a staple of lunchboxes and after-school routines. The first bite glued itself to your teeth, then smeared fingers, and the candy dots snapped under pressure. A sensory overload that felt both rebellious and comforting. On the playground, a single cosmic brownie became high-value currency, often traded for a juice box, a handful of chips, or, if you were lucky, a pack of Gushers. In 2004, a quiet shift changed the formula. New trans fat labeling laws forced McKee Foods to swap out partially hydrogenated oils for palm and canola blends. The change was subtle, but loyal fans noticed. Some argued the brownies lost their signature chew, the frosting grew waxier, and the sweetness seemed muted. Yet despite ingredient bans and shifting health trends, cosmic brownies held their ground, outlasting many rivals on grocery shelves. Fruit Gushers, launched by Betty Crocker in 1991, offered a different thrill. Each bite-sized hexagon was engineered for spectacle, a thin shell bursting with syrupy, fruit-flavored liquid. Early commercials leaned into the drama, using CG to morph kids' heads into giant fruit, a visual that stuck in the minds of a generation. Nielsen data showed these ads doubled sales after every Nicktoons airing. Gushers packs became playground currency, swapped for cookies or even a rare pudding cup. The gooey dissenter left fingers sticky and tongues stained, a badge of honor in the age of slime and shock value. As health concerns mounted, Betty Crocker adjusted the formula, replacing partially hydrogenated oils and dialing back the wild flavors. Purists noticed. The gush was less explosive, the chew a bit firmer. But the rush of biting into a gusher remained a core memory. Fruit by the foot, debuting in 1992, turned snacking into a performance. Each 3-foot roll of sticky sweet tape unspooled like a streamer, stretched across desks, or looped around wrists before being devoured. The packaging promised wild colors, video game tie-ins, and collectible stickers, making every roll a small adventure. The formula was simple: corn syrup, sugar, a touch of fruit puree, but the experience was anything but. As nutrition panels became standard and parents scrutinized labels, the branding shifted to real fruit claims and toned-down dyes. The shape stayed long, but the flavors softened, and the ingredient list slimmed for a new era. These snacks weren't just sugar. They were status symbols, trading chips, and playground power-ups. Each delivered a rush, whether from taste, texture, or the social capital they carried. For a time, they ruled the lunchroom, leaving sticky fingers and lasting memories. A single yellow and black wrapper could spark a playground showdown. Warheads, first unleashed on American kids in 1993, took the dare-based snack economy to new heights. The goal wasn't flavor, it was survival. Each hard candy came coated in a layer of malic acid, delivering a punch of sourness that made eyes water and lips pucker. Keeping a warhead in your mouth for 20 seconds became a rite of passage. Some kids managed a full minute, their faces frozen in cartoonish agony. According to a former Impact Confections chemist, the acid layering was so intense, we came close to a recall. Only clear warnings kept it alive. By 1995, FDA guidance forced the company to dial back the sour, after reports of mouth sores and minor burns triggered a wave of parental lawsuits. Safety labels grew larger, but the challenge stuck around, fueling endless dares and viral bragging rights before anyone knew what viral meant. The formula was quietly softened by the end of the decade, but the original Warheads legend still echoes in snack forums and collector circles. Would a candy designed to make kids cry survive today's outrage cycles? Maybe only as a TikTok challenge, if schools didn't ban it first. On the sweeter side of the spectrum, Shark Bites swam into lunchboxes starting in 1988. These gummy snacks weren't just fruit-flavored. They were shaped like sharks, with the elusive green or white piece fueling a miniature economy of trades and deals. Landing a great white was like finding a golden ticket. Some kids would swap an entire pack just for one. Later editions added tiger sharks and new colors, but it was always the rare pieces that mattered most. Betty Crocker's commercials promised adventure and discovery, but on the playground, Shark Bites were about luck and leverage. When artificial dye controversies hit in the late 90s, the original formula vanished, leaving fans to chase memories on eBay and retro food blogs. Would today's parents allow a snack built on food coloring and playground gambling? Maybe, if the gummies went organic and the Great White turned gluten-free. For pure spectacle, Bubble Jug gum delivered chaos in a plastic bottle. Released by Wrigley in 1993, this oddball treat dispensed tangy powder that transformed into gum as you chewed. The slogan, "The gum you pour, not chew," was backed by TV ads featuring kids pouring clouds of pink dust, then blowing monster bubbles. Bubble Jug was messy, unpredictable, and a magnet for dares. Some kids tried to eat the whole jug at once. Others staged gulp contests to see who could handle the biggest powder hit. Candy Industry magazine called it one of Wrigley's most successful novelties of 1994. But the fun didn't last. By 1998, Bubble Jug was gone, sunk by choking hazard concerns and a reputation for leaving pink stains everywhere. Surviving unopened jugs are now collector gold. Would a powder-to-gum gimmick even get past today's safety standards? Only if parents signed a waiver. These snacks didn't just fill lunchboxes. They fueled dares, trades, and playground legends. The thrill wasn't just in the taste, but in the risk, the rarity, and the stories that followed. A single bag of 3D Doritos could turn any lunch table into a science lab. Launched by Frito-Lay in 1998, these puffed triangles looked like they came straight out of a video game. The crunch was louder, the shape was wild, and the commercials, featuring Ali Landry flipping chips in midair, turned snack time into a spectacle. According to Frito-Lay engineers, it took years of trial and error to perfect the extrusion process that gave each chip its hollow center. The taste was familiar, but the experience was pure novelty. Kids compared the air-filled Doritos to space food, stacking them like building blocks, or daring friends to eat a whole handful at once. Lunchables pizza took the DIY craze to another level. Introduced after the original Lunchables kits, the pizza version let kids assemble their own cold mini pies using crusts, packets of tomato sauce, and shredded cheese. There was no microwave in sight, just pure cafeteria creativity. Sociologists interviewed by NPR recall how Lunchables pizza became the blue chip stock of the lunchroom market. Kids would trade slices for chips, cookies, or even a whole pack of Gushers, depending on how much cheese you managed to pile on. The more toppings, the higher your social capital. These kits weren't just food. They were a lesson in bartering and self-expression, one plastic tray at a time. Kudos bars blurred the line between health food and candy. Mars rolled them out in the late 80s, but by the 90s, they were everywhere. Granola bars packed with M&Ms, Snickers chunks, or chocolate drizzle. Parents liked the granola label, but kids knew the truth. This was dessert disguised as a snack. School debates raged over whether Kudos counted as a breakfast bar or a lunchbox treat. By the late 2010s, as protein bars took over and sugar got a bad rap, Kudos quietly disappeared from shelves. Would a candy-laced granola bar even survive today's wellness wave? Or would it need a protein boost and a clean label to make a comeback? If you ever traded a 3D Dorito for a slice of Lunchables pizza, or snuck a Kudos bar into your backpack, hit subscribe. The next snack might just take you back to the soda-stained cafeteria tables of your childhood. Surge arrived in 1997, a jolt of citrus and caffeine in a can so green it nearly glowed. Coca-Cola's team pitched it as the answer to Mountain Dew, banking on a campaign packed with skateboards and stunts. For a while, Surge was the drink of choice for kids who wanted to stand out, its flavor somewhere between lemon lime and melted popsicle. But as warnings about caffeine and sugar grew, the backlash hit hard. By 2003, Surge disappeared, leaving behind only empty cans and online nostalgia. Later petitions brought it back. Bang! For short runs, but the original formula, heavy on caffeine and yellow 5, wouldn't make it past today's school policies. Squeeze-Its turned juice into a game. Kids twisted off the tops and squeezed neon liquid, straight from bottles shaped like cartoon faces. Chucklin' Cherry, Grumpy Grape. The spectacle was the point. Wild colors, artificial flavors, and just enough sugar to power a backyard chase. A former brand manager recalled, That bottle was the brand. But single-use plastic drew criticism, and schools started banning dyes. By the mid-2000s, Squeeze-Its were gone, unlikely to return without a green makeover. Oreo O's, launched in 1998, made breakfast feel like breaking the rules. Cookie-flavored rings filled cereal bowls, and commercials leaned into the dessert angle. Kids begged, parents relented, and mornings tasted like cookies. But when Post and Kraft split in 2007, the cereal vanished from U.S. shelves, surviving only in South Korea thanks to a licensing loophole. For years, fans imported boxes at a premium. A 2017 deal brought Oreo O's back, but the taste had changed, just slightly. High C Ecto Cooler, born in 1989 as a Ghostbusters tie-in, glowed green and tasted like citrus. Slimer grinned from every box. Ecto Cooler faded after 2007, except for brief revivals in 2016 and 2021. For a generation, it was Saturday morning in a juice box. In the 90s, drinks and cereals weren't just breakfast. They were rebellion in a bottle or bowl. Dunkaroos landed in 1990, instantly rewriting the rules of snack time. Betty Crocker's team wanted something wild, a treat you could dip, decorate, and show off. The answer came from a quick sketch on a meeting room pad. Duncan the Kangaroo, dunking cookies with a grin. The launch was a hit, fueled by TV ads and the promise of frosting in every pack. On the playground, the real prize was always the frosting. Some kids rationed every swipe, others dunked with abandon, but everyone agreed. More frosting meant more power. When Dunkaroos vanished from U.S. shelves in 2012, fans turned desperate, smuggling boxes from Canada, launching petitions, and even trading for single packs online. The comeback in 2020 was a victory lap for nostalgia. But the taste? Some say the new recipe can't match the original's creamy frosting, thanks to new health rules. Would today's parents approve a snack that's mostly sugar and joy? Only if they're the ones sneaking a bite. Nostalgia has become its own marketplace, with fans rallying for snack comebacks through online petitions and TikTok trends. Surge's limited revival, Dunkaroos' triumphant return, and even Oreo O's reappearing on shelves all started with digital campaigns and a flood of childhood memories. But today, snack makers face a new set of rules. FDA guidelines now cap sugar content in products marketed to kids, and eco-friendly packaging is becoming the norm. Parents scroll ingredient lists while younger consumers debate which flavors deserve a reboot. Would a neon squeeze bottle or a sugar-packed brownie stand a chance in this climate? Or are these snacks destined to live on as retro collectibles? The next big revival might depend less on taste and more on who shouts loudest online. In 1997, a Nielsen study found that American kids could identify 1990s snack mascots more easily than U.S. presidents. This documentary traces how bold marketing, changing family life, and new food technology created an era when snacks like Dunkaroos, 3D Doritos, and Surge Soda became playground currency. Many of these classics disappeared after health laws changed, with the 2004 trans fat reform and stricter FDA guidelines driving major reformulations or discontinuations. Yet, as the Dunkaroos 2020 revival proved, nostalgia and consumer demand have real power, sometimes even overcoming industry obstacles. What remains unanswered is which beloved snack might return next, and whether today's rules would allow it in its original form. What is clear, these snacks reflected their time, shaped childhood rituals, and still spark debate over taste, health, and culture. According to a 1997 Doritos commercial, some things never change. For a generation, the taste of the 90s is one thing they'll never forget.